Yesterday, we requested everybody to come on time so that we'll derive a greater value. Now we see a lot of smiling faces, a lot of alert faces, a lot of energetic people here. We'll start the proceedings of the day. To kickstart, it's my privilege to invite Mr. Avinash Mishra, the moderator of today, to kindly join me on stage for this fantastic panel discussion on moving towards net zero water and sustainable environment. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Mr. Avinash Mishra for you. My colleague Nivedita will introduce Mr. Avinash Mishra to the audience.
Avinash Mishra sir is Chairman, Water Audit Council and former advisor Niti Aayog.
Yes.
Avinash Mishra is a highly experienced professional in the field of water resources with a master's degree in MTech, water resources and a bachelor's degree in civil engineering BE from IIT Delhi. With over 33 years of experience, he has contributed significantly to national policy planning, formulation and the implementation of action plans in India. Mr. Mishra has been deeply involved in the development and proposal processes for state governments across the key sectors including major, medium and minor irrigation, flood control, drainage, command area development, wastewater management and drinking water supply and sanitation. He has also represented the Planning Commission, now Niti Aayog, in various technical advisory committees focused on irrigation and water supply. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you, Nivedita, and ladies and gentlemen, that was a mere formality. Mr. Avinash Mishra doesn't require a special introduction, but we went through the motion, that's it. May I now invite Mr. B.O. Prasanna Kumar, Joint Managing Director of DesignTree, to join on stage as one of the distinguished panelists. Nivedita, over to you. Mr. Prasanna Kumar.
Mr. B.O. Prasanna Kumar is Joint Managing Director, DesignTree Service Consultants Private Limited. He graduated in Civil Engineering in 1987 from Mysore University, obtained a Masters of Engineering in Environmental Engineering from Gulbarga University in 1989. He is a seasoned professional with over 3 decades of experience in civil and environmental engineering. He is an active member of the Indian Plumbing Association Bengaluru chapter, serving as an NEC member and the convener of the IPA Center of Excellence. He has also held the positions of past chair of the Bengaluru chapter for the 3 terms and is an individual member of the World Plumbing Council.
I now request Mr. Gautam Reddy, Joint Vice Chairman, RE Sustainability Limited, to kindly join us on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Gautam Reddy.
Sri Gautam Reddy, Vice Chairman, RE Sustainability, is a bachelor's degree in civil engineering from Nagarjuna University, Andhra Pradesh, and a master's degree in environmental engineering from the University of Nevada, USA. With the 27 years of rich experience in environmental services, waste management, real estate, and infrastructure development, Mr. Reddy has been a pioneer in the industry. He is credited with establishing India's first integrated facilities for hazardous waste, medical waste, and municipal solid waste management, and has played a key role in the development of India's largest waste-to-energy project. Under his leadership, the company now manages over 7 million tons of waste annually.
That's a big number. While the audience will start counting how many zeros are there in 7 million, we will invite our next panelist, Ms. Charu Thapar, Executive Director, Property and Asset Management, JLL for Asia Pacific region. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Ms. Charu Thapar for you.
Srimati Charu Thapar is Executive Director, Property Management and Asset Management, Asia Pacific, JLL. She is a senior industry veteran with over 30 years of experience in real estate, including more than 25 years of experience in asset and property management. In her current role, she drives region-wide initiatives focusing on digital transformation, client relations, and business growth. Charu also leads JLL's diversity and inclusion efforts and champions CSR activities across India. Her expertise spans cost management, business development, client relations, technology, and systems, with a strong track record in servicing both local and international clients. For her outstanding contributions, Charu was honored with the prestigious CNW Honors, the highest award within the organization. We welcome Mrs. Charu to this esteemed panel.
Ladies and gentlemen, I also have the privilege of inviting our next panelist, Mr. Ashok Jeff, Director, Bureau of Water Use Efficiency, to kindly join us on stage.
Shri Ashok Jeff, Director of Bureau of Water Use Efficiency, National Water Mission, Ministry of Jal Shakti, has done his BTech from IIT Bombay, one of the India's premier engineering institutions. While working in the Central Water Mission, the apex organization in water sector, he gained vast experience in water sector by dealing in key areas such as dam safety, inflow forecasting, hydrometeorological observation and collection of data, water supply and flood control projects. Currently, as the Director of the Bureau of Water Use Efficiency, Shri Jeff is tackling one of India's most pressing challenges, improving the country's water use efficiency by 20% across all sectors, which includes domestic, agriculture and industry.
Fantastic. Moving towards net zero water in sustainable environment, a very, very thought-provoking topic, and I am sure the moderator and the panelists are going to do great justice for all of us here, and I now respectfully yield the podium to Mr. Avinash Mishra to take over the proceedings. Thank you.
Good morning. As we could see, such a high professional intelligentsia and represented from all the walks of the sector, we can say from the government, from the corporate, and also the sustainability management, those who are in the business of water treatment, sewage water treatment and all. I think this is the high time while we should start realizing that in what way we are all going to be sustainable on water front. And the next question would be why we need to be sustainable on water front. I have given this example in my previous speech, and at the cost of repetition I will again reiterate that if you will see the GDP of Japan, South Korea, US, the contribution of semiconductor in this particular one industry contribution is something varying something between 3 to 8% of their GDP. Today we should think of semiconductor. We have got a big coastline of around 7,000 kilometers, and the water resources, whatever is there with us, I think it should be so efficiently used that the water footprint to that particular product should give us the maximum return, instead of just putting and growing the rice, and that rice is not getting exported because of phytosanitation and all other regions, and consuming 3,000 liters of water. Instead, we should see how the ultra pure water can be generated and put it for the production of the semiconductor industry. Now definitely I have raised a question where actually water footprint should be minimized and its output value should be maximized. So this is one area where we should think. The other area is this: if we see overall, I am talking this all because the water is the new currency, is the topic which is going to be discussed, and in this whole I have got all the dignitaries with me, and we are going to touch how these water sources could be augmented further, because you know, because of the geological limitation, the water availability and water storage in the country is fixed. Water storage per capita is coming down day by day because the population is going up. So actually to address this particular problem, that how to combat and how to become sustainable, and where from this GDP contribution, which we are saying that we are growing year on year with the average growth rate of 6.5 to 7, and so many economists, they do put the number that we are still going to the tune of, we will grow to the tune of 9% of our GDP. That's well taken. But the contribution is coming from service industry, which is located in the urban area. The contribution is coming from industry for which we are not providing any water. And definitely 15 to 16% contribution is coming from agriculture sector, where actually political system and all other is really not thinking to provide any sort of efficiency improvement over that side. So we need to think all which is there in the built environment, which is there in the urban settlement, that how we should minimize the water consumption and how we should remain the water sustainable. So, well friend, today I am going to talk in a built environment, the water availability and the sustainability. Once the water is supplied to you in one particular premises, why we should allow that water to get contaminated and to go back to the system again as a polluted one, to further pollute the aquifer or to further pollute the water bodies. Instead, we can segregate the two streams separately. One is the black water stream, another is the grey water stream. The grey water can be treated much efficiently, can be put back for the use, which will be for flushing, which will be for laundry, which will be for mopping and for all other purposes. And then that black water can join as a water carrier channel for the sewerage and may flow down. And this further we can augment, because within the premises we must have the water harvesting system. And in any premise, if we go for a water harvesting system, 10 to 12% of water we can augment. So that also we can do. I am in this particular process talking only the sustainability. So the sustainability of that built premises would be with you. And I am not talking about the price tag, because I know the price tag as such for water is almost negligible in the country. But there is an opportunity cost. If today water is available to me, it's fine. If not available, then what will happen? What I am going to lose? So that particular cost. Another a very vital thing, if we are able to develop the two streams separately for drainage, two streams separately for the supply, then definitely we'll have a stream of the drinking water. And why everybody? Because I am very sure everybody, whoever is sitting here, they might have put the RO system in their houses, they might have been treating the water for drinking purpose. Even that can be done collectively. So well friends, I just want to set the context. I think there is a time ahead, we will discuss further on this topic with my all fellow dignitaries on the dais. Thank you very much. So moving to the net zero built environment, I would just like to ask a question from Mr. Ashok Jeff, that the Bureau of Water Use Efficiency definitely is working on this particular area. I believe that the water efficiency improvement within the premises is also required. So in what context the step 1, the water use efficiency, you are working?
Good morning everybody. I represent the central government of India and government of India is aware that water, which is the main elixir of life, which is going to be very much in scarcity in the near future. Not only in the near future, but we are we are water scarce since 2011. Water which demand and supply mismatch starts from year 2000 year, and the clock start ticking if we do not take any steps towards water use efficiency on the demand side. Then you all, as already you know, that supply side water is fixed. If we do not go for the demand side, then the situation will become more scarce. So, Government of India in October 2022 set up the Bureau of Water Use Efficiency under National Water Mission. The main objective of the Bureau of Water Use Efficiency is to increase the water use efficiency by 20% in not only in the domestic sector but also in industry and agriculture sector. So here I will speak of the domestic sector. In domestic sector, there is a large propensity of to achieve water use efficiency by saving around 9 to 10 BCM of water by increasing the water use efficiency by 20%. In the common parlance, if I compare this amount of water, this is going to be 9 to 10 Indra Sagar projects, which is one of the largest project reservoir in India. If 9 to 10 BCM of water can be saved from the domestic sector, the cost which is to be incurred constructing the Indra Sagar projects, so 9 to 10 BCM of water can be saved by increasing just 20% of efficiency in the domestic sector. So the foremost initiative which the Bureau of Water Use Efficiency has undertaken in the domestic sector is use of the low flow fixtures. We are conducting a study with IIT Roorkee regarding the use of low flow fixtures in the domestic sector in industries, not in institutions called hospitals, hotels, residential buildings. So since the data is the main baseline of comparing the water use in the domestic sector, so we start with the collecting data, and we are conducting this study with IIT Roorkee. Earlier studies also has been done, but the data is not that much available. So with the new data, we will be creating new frameworks, new guidelines, and new protocols for the domestic sector. So apart from that, we are also collaborating with IPA. We have a memorandum of understanding with the IPA, and we are going to conduct mass awareness activities in the whole India. In this series, in January, we have tentatively scheduled 31st January 2025. We are conducting a program in Delhi. I wish to invite all of you to participate in this event. With this, I think.
Very much. Mr. Ashokji, as he has mentioned that with the set of data, those are going to be generated for the various faucets fixtures. Those are going to save to what quantum of water they are saving, whether it is 20%, 30%, 40% or 50%. Those faucets, fixers, aerators, definitely today we have got some numbers, but those numbers should be testified by some premier institute of engineers. I think that's very good approach what the government of India is taking, and I hope that the call what from government side we are getting for the awareness program, we will honor it, and the time what he has indicated will go. Now moving towards the corporate side, I would like to ask from Madam Charu Thapar that she is actually managing the big residential assets to facility to the commercial establishment like Amazon and all. So in what ways he finds the difference of the water consumption in case if we go for water auditing and also the conservation of water? Kindly.
Thank you, Avinashi. I would like to thank the Indian Plumbing Association for inviting me for this conference. Yesterday's sessions were brilliant. Coming to your question, Mr. Mishra, let's divide this into two parts, the commercial and residential built environment in real estate. In the commercial segment, we see a lot of commitment and awareness with regard to using water saving programs. And that is also because the people who occupy those buildings are very committed to it. So let me say, for example, if we talk of international companies, they have defined their net zero goals for 2035 or 2040, which means the commercial real estate buildings have to meet those requirements. So given that, we see, and actually the journey started I think about 10 years ago, when the sewage treatment plants and the treated water was recycled in our urinals and WCs in the commercial segment. Earlier people used to complain a lot, and complaints used to be, oh, the water is brackish, right? The color is not as transparent, and things like that. To address that, a lot of communication happened. I'm sure when you go to an office building and use the WC, you'll see behind the door to say, this is treated water, please do not complain, we urge you to use it because we are, this is a part of our sustainability journey. And today no one even questions it, we accept it, right? In addition to that, a lot of water is saved because of using sensor controlled devices on taps, right? And we see it even in our airports. The water from the faucet is controlled by sensors and on and off. Hence the leakage is, if someone's left a running tap on and all, is not there. In addition to that, Ashokji spoke about low flow fixtures, etc. That is something the corporate sector is quite committed to, and all the new buildings use it already. There are challenges to the older buildings, and we'll come to that perhaps at the later part of the conversation. I do want to dwell on the residential part of real estate, which is where I think a lot more awareness needs to be brought in. I think traditionally, as Indians, we are quite committed to sustainable living. At least that's how we were brought up, right? If we go back to old times, our grandparents would not waste anything, If we take an example of clothes, today the fast fashion actually accounts for maximum landfill. Whereas when we grew up, every piece of clothing was used, reused, and readapted. Similarly, our commitment to water. We didn't waste water. We had bucket baths. We didn't use showers, right? I think that sort of awareness needs to come into the residential segment with regard to reducing the use of water. There is a lot of awareness that we can spread through that. So in the buildings that we manage, we run awareness campaigns. We try to educate people that the STP water is treated and can be in a hygienic manner used in your WCs. But we see resistance from the end user. People will see there's an X amount of potable water that every building is sanctioned, right? I think it is 135 liters per person, basis that, and I think it's 4 people to a house, and that's how that calculation works. But we see people will change their plumbing connections and will use potable water even for WCs, etc. So coming back to what Ashokji was saying with regard to having 2 streams of water, there are 2 challenges. One is having those two streams. The second is spreading awareness. And I think that is what even Ashokji said, that unless we're aware, that how scarce water is going to become as a commodity, we will not reach anywhere. So I think it has to be a people's movement and commitment, and it has to come from both levels. It has to be a partnership. Our education policy needs to include that so that the next generation is more aware. And all of us have to be committed, as we started the conference with the pledge, that we will ensure that we reduce our own water consumption. So yeah, those are the two differences in the built environment.
So, the water issue, what has been brought by Ms. Charu Thapar, is the behavior change which is required when we are dealing with the built premises and particularly for residential complexes. But this set of treatment could be different for commercial buildings, because there we need water by any way, and there could be two streams, and definitely the taboo that it's treated water and maybe properly disinfected and nothing is there, but still there would be a little sluggishness in using that. But in commercial establishment, perhaps it will not be, in IT parks, in office complexes. So definitely we can see the two distinct differences. Now moving towards the professional, I would like to ask Mr. B.O.P. Prasanna ji that in what way actually the sustainability of a built environment can be addressed. I think you come across the two pipe system, you also come across the two drainage system, and many of us, those are traveling to Singapore or to, for that matter, to other countries, we do use the water which has been treated multiple times and which has been circulated over there multiple times. But while we still see an element of doubt in India, so what do you think in this regard, and how it can be really implemented on ground?
Thank you, Avinash. Particularly if you look at the amount of construction, what is happening in India, total construction in India put together, we are building something around 1 Chicago every year. That is the quantum of construction. Even though the built environment is using about 20% of the water, whereas agriculture is using 70% of water, we are talking 20% more, because where you require a very hygienic condition, unlike the requirement for irrigation and all. So this 20% of the water which to be treated properly and send it to the system. Now, as far as plumbing is concerned, already the two pipe systems or two different streams of water is all there since at least I have seen in 1.5 decades. We are practicing that. Particularly the adaptation has come with the developer community to have segregate the stream of water, say the black water, the grey water separately, treating it separately. But most of the treatment, what is happening, since there is no great mandate is there with us, we are combining both grey and the black water and treating together. Because the end use requirement is what we consider in our built environment is for majorly for flushing, which is start with, then the for irrigation purpose. The third, after increased treatment quality, we are using it for air conditioning the cooling towers. So these are the different stratification of water where we are collecting, treating and reusing. Now, if you are talking about the moving towards the net zero or near net zero, so we need to exercise, one is at control at the user end, another control at source. Both we need to exercise. So controlling at the user end, as Ashok ji said, we are using the low flow fixtures, which is already duly mandated through IS 17650, part 1 and part 2, which are both are talking on the sanitary fixtures and fittings. So where at the user end we are reducing the water consumption. So incidentally, all that been calculated and brought down total cost, because finally what happens, how much we are spending on a built environment. Because every rupee you spend is increasing the sales value, or it may become deterrent. So if you are increasing the cost of the construction. So now the plumbing is in very efficient stage now. Designs are there, and all that we are coming to little optimized stage of design, and we are doing in our environment now.
As we can learn from him and see that it is something which is doable, and mostly builders are doing it. The two streams are getting separated from the beginning, and but only the treatment part is not being done. The reason being, firstly, the behavior change part is required. Secondly, the confidence level. We have lost the confidence level to such an extent that at the just end use of point, which is there for drinking purpose, we are all putting up the RO system. So we don't believe that the system has been such that it has been treated to that great extent. I think because every individual of us in putting the drinking water treatment system, the water and the power, the type of the consumption which is happening in terms of rupee is also quite good, because you see we are changing the membranes of our RO system, we are putting up the power there and separating out the lot of wastewater, the reject part. So it is not that we are concerned for the quality part only, but if the grey water treated to a great extent and circulated it back can be used for all secondary purposes. So now moving from Mr. BUP Prasanna to Sri Gautam Reddy ji, who is actually Vice Chairman to the RE Sustainability. The particular company looks after the large sewage treatment plants to the smaller sewage treatment plant and all sorts of facility where these treatment and the laying of pipelines and all can be done. I would request from him whether the innovative solutions ranging from the cluster of houses to the big commercial premises in case of the built environment is available in this country and reliable enough so it can be used, and what are the constraints if it is not being put for this way, whether it's a constraint in terms of money or it's constraint that I might be spending the money for that particular thing, but upfront it looks as if I am not paying much for the water part. So may kindly throw some light on this.
Thank you, Mishra ji. Thank you very much. Firstly, as the title of this event suggests, water the new currency, it's the most undervalued currency. People do not value this, and that's the reason why all of this problem is emerging. If the water is priced correctly, 90% of the problems will get solved once it is priced correctly. Let's assume that water has to be purchased at 500 rupees a kiloliter. I do not think people will start consuming this 150 liters per head per day that we are consuming today. We were happily, comfortably, without complaining, living with about 40 liters per head per day. Now that has come to 150 only because of availability at low price. And it is low price because it is not valued correctly. Some people draw it from the ground just by putting a bore well. The cost is only electricity. Some people get it from river. Some people get it from the government. And as a result, because it is subsidized, it's undervalued. Because it is undervalued, it is excessively used. Because it is excessively used, the next generation's rights on this water are diminished significantly. That means sustainability is compromised very, very significantly. Now, water is not just consumed by humans or not just by residents in urban building. Water is consumed by industries, water is consumed by agriculture, water is consumed for greenery. But some of those are not easy to plan recycling, and some of those could be very expensive to recycle. Whereas water that is consumed in the buildings, one can be minimized, two can be reused. Today, all of us know across the world that this water can be recycled. To what level? It can be brought exactly back to this level. Not just grey water, black water also can be brought back to this level of recycling, and it can be opened and happily consumed. Forget bathing, forget using it for construction. It can be consumed. That's the level of technology. It can be done at the building. It can be done at the common sewage treatment plant. It can be done anywhere. Now, despite this, why are we not doing? The only reason is water is so cheap that treating this and reusing this is more expensive than getting fresh water. Would I like fresh groundwater or would I like treated sewage? I would like fresh groundwater as a simple consumer. And therefore the root of the problem is not charging water properly. If we charge that, the first thing that will happen is minimization. It's not just the residents. Even the farmers will start minimizing if it is charged properly. You can cover him back by increasing the finished price of the product, because government is the buyer. But by subsidizing water, you're encouraging him to misuse. You're encouraging him to use surplus. Therefore, step one, which is the environmental or sustainable primary focus, reduce, reuse. This is step number one. And for that, water has to be charged properly. And extraction of water from ground should be prohibited except by controlled measures. Number two, the water used by alternate consumers like agriculture, industries, greenery should also be charged properly, and then should be cross-subsidized by the finished product productivity-linked incentive rather than by subsidizing water. I mean, if you look at agriculture, one, water is given free. Two, the extraction from ground is also free because the electricity is also borne by the government. Then where is the incentive to subsidize? So that is the second step that is to be done. Third is reuse and recycle wherever possible, and to recycle nothing bigger than built environment. And in built environment, net zero is a gross understatement. A gross understatement. Today, we can get to net positive. 100% of the water consumed in this building can be brought back to potable level. Therefore, there is no further water required for this building. However, there is rain falling on the building, which can be tapped, and it can be brought back into productivity, which means you can become net positive, not just being a net zero. So every building can become net positive. However, where do we stand today? Not even 5% of the buildings in the country or in the world are anyway close to net zero. Now this change, when will it happen and how will it happen? There's only one method: charge the water properly, make it a currency. That's the only answer. So I appreciate the title of this conference. It meets the whole objective of net zero.
So it means that the technology is available and we need to really move towards the net zero. And we need to build the sustainable buildings so we don't come across the gap of water unavailability like it has happened many times in Bangalore, many times in various parts of the country, where actually we are suffering the availability of water and not even for the daily routine purpose. And there was the media headline that people are moving towards the malls or towards the five-star hotels for all the basic needs. So I think we should move towards the net zero building. Not only the upcoming building, but even within the existing building, we can think of to go ahead with these arrangements of dual pipe system, of the proper treatment and attaching the proper value for the water pricing. Since the water pricing for quite some time has become an instrument in the political circle, so how we can really delink I think there should be a regulatory authority. Like in case of power, we have got the power regulatory authority. But in case of water, why the water regulatory authority is not yet there? So this is something which needs to be there. Now moving towards again to Mr. Ashok ji, who is there representing the government of India and National Water Mission. What do you feel regarding the efficiency improvement and about the water regulatory authority to be brought in the system? Is there, or it is to be yet brought in a full scale to give some value of the water? Or we should think the telescopic value of the water to this much extent the water could be free, but beyond that you have to pay something. For example, in Delhi, the 20,000 liter is the per month consumption is free. But I think if you multiply with a family of 5 and 150 liter per capita per day, this comes quite low than the 20,000. So whether this number should be brought back to 40 into 5 members and then 30 days. So whether such type of recommendation should be pushed. What's your view in this?
First of all, I want to add something more about Bureau of Water Use Efficiency. Presently, Bureau of Water Use Efficiency is simply a directorate working under National Water Mission without any statutory powers. So we are creating this National Bureau of Water Use Efficiency under the Environmental Protection Act. So as you are aware that Environmental Protection Act, which is a statutory act which mandates the government to put certain frameworks to be strictly adhered to by the not only the industry, all the stakeholders. They have to adhere to the Environmental Protection Act without any with the creation of the National Bureau of Water Use Efficiency, we are giving the power to the Bureau to create certain frameworks and guidelines which will be mandated not only the governments but the common people, industry and agriculture, all sectors. These are the mandatory protocols and frameworks that has to be adhered to. So with these protocols, as you have said that in Delhi the problem is free water. This free water is basically not certain. It's not a big issue, but the efficiency of water use is the most the basic problem we are facing. So now central government has to see the use of water not only the common masses but also other industries and other sectors also. So the common people, they are getting that water free. It's a good initiative. We cannot say that it's wastage of water, but we have to put certain limitations to that with pricing. So if we start with this pricing mechanism, not only at the level of the common people, but to the industries and other sectors like in agriculture, which is the major consumption of water. Around 80% is consumed in agriculture, and which has the efficiency is very less. Only 38% efficiency is there. So if we put some protocols and guidelines for that, and we increase that efficiency, we can save around 129 BCM of water, which is sufficient to fulfill all our needs. So I will not say that free water is bad, but there must be some limitations on that. So we all have to see that we can do some innovations in technologies and new practices, new mass awareness campaigns. With mass awareness campaign, the government is trying to pursue people to use the water judiciously.
Thank you very much. So, what Mr. Asokji is saying, that there should be some number which is concrete enough for deciding the quantum of water which can be provided free by the political parties. Definitely, I do welcome that the free water should be provided. I recall that once the Supreme Court, in analyzing the Article 21, indicated that drinking water is required as a water for life. So that is required, but only 15 liter water is required for drinking and for cooking purpose. Beyond that, all becomes luxury. So 15 liter per capita per day, and if we consider a family of 5, then 75 liter per day multiplied by 30. So that comes to around 2000 liters per month. So that much quantum of water should be provided free by the political parties in terms of freebies, whoever actually wants to give this thing. So there should be a move that the water should be properly priced. If it is properly priced, definitely the consumption will come down and the other treatment methods, other ways will improve, and we will definitely move towards the sustainability of that particular premises or that particular commercial proposition. Now, coming back to Mr. B.O. Prasanna Kumar regarding the water sustainability part and the pricing part and the technology part, in what way he thinks that he is operating in Bangalore, the Bangalore could be made sustainable in this regard. Please.
The major problem on the water is it all depends upon the rainfall, and we are taking the water and there is no proper mechanism of reusing, treating, all these things are there. And particularly in Bangalore, what is happening? We have all rules and regulation for the campus developments, where you have the IT campus or residential campus. So once you go for a building approval, you need to consider all that the total amount of water required from for the premises, the treating the water within the premises itself, and recycle the water. Once again, it all lies with the pricing mechanism. Pricing mechanism is any innovation, the pricing mechanism is the deterrent there. Where I am getting something for free, any innovation is costing there. So that is where the things are going wrong. So in Bangalore, we were having about 1,000 lakes in Bangalore earlier. So all that lakes are depleted or constructed over the years by the government, and the colonies were done. Now all the lakes are reduced to about 100 numbers now. Bangalore traditionally, it was the terrain which was very conducive for the cascading of water from one lake to other lake, where the proper replenishment and the replenishment of water was happening there. Now what is happening is those lakes, so-called lakes, now all become a cesspool because we are leaving the treated or untreated water into the lakes. So then now the dependency has come to bring the water from the rivers. The nearest river where it is available is a Kaveri in Bangalore, where we are bringing water from about 135 kilometers with an elevation difference of about 400 to 450 meters. So it is adding to the, now we are addressing the water where we are not addressing the pricing of the water, how much I am bringing from the farther locations. Now the water is adding to the solution as well as problem, because there is a crisis nexus between the water and energy. So you want water, but you are spending on energy. So these are the add-on things. The real pricing mechanism is not there. Anything you address, this buck stops at where we are not rightly pricing the water. So these are the situation. It is not only to Bangalore, but many of our metro cities which are facing because of the high treatment quality, high lifting of water, and non-sustenance use within the campus. We are limiting ourselves. Everything is on the cost. There we are stopping now.
Very much. And now moving towards the corporate, I would like to ask Madam Charu Thapar that moving towards net zero, I'm sure that many of her group might be managing some of the assets where actually you are recycling the water, maybe for the condensate purpose for cooling towers and all. So can you kindly give some example of that sort, wherein actually the water footprint has reduced or the water has been recycled back in the same premises?
Thank you, Avinashji. So, if we were to talk of the three aspects, reduce, reuse and recycle, I think the corporate real estate buildings, especially the newer assets and campuses, have done a great job in terms of designing and implementing this. So in terms of reduce, we spoke about earlier, there is sensor technology, right, which turns on, turns off taps and water faucets. And it just reduces the consumption in itself. With regard to recycle, a lot of effort is being made. One is sewage treatment plants and water treatment plants. It is firstly mandated that the buildings need to have these plants and water has to be recycled. And they do a great job in achieving efficiency therein. The treated plant from the STPs is used for the entire horticulture. It is also used in terms of, cleaning, etc., where possible. Hence reducing the consumption of potable water. In terms of recycling, you very rightly said, the cooling towers actually consume a fair bit of potable water. And the quality of water required therein also has to be of a very good quality. A lot of the commercial campuses have, they actually harness this water and treat it and then reuse it again. So much so that the loss of this, the recycled water is just about 3%. And the sludge that is produced comes out in crystalline form and is dumped as per the regulation. So I think there's a lot of awareness with regard to reusing and recycling all of this water. Also a tremendous amount of energy in terms of effort goes towards harnessing. We are very fortunate in our country, we get abundant monsoon in harnessing rainwater. It is very well collected. It is captured in the rainwater pits and treated and reused yet again. So I think in the organized sector, there's a lot that has been done, a lot to learn from. And also I think it's being driven by corporate goals with regard to achieving this circularity with regard to water.
So I can just draw that the sustainability has been the prime in this particular case rather than the pricing tag. Now actually, again, moving towards the sustainability from moving to net zero, one thing is very clear that we are all feeling the dent of the climate change, and it has been experienced that the temperature rise, if it is more than 1.5 degrees centigrade, and it is close to 2 degrees centigrade as compared to pre-industrial era. And one of the figure which also says that the sea water has risen to the level of 25 centimeter. We can say closely 1 foot than what it used to be in 1860 to now. And so these are the impacts what we are realizing because of the climate impact and the climate change for the waterfront. The other one is this, that we used to get the monsoon because for all the 90 days, which has been reduced to 45 days some 5 to 10 years back, but now it has been further reduced to 30 days. The moment the rainfall actually gets reduced, we need to create the storage to actually accommodate or to store this surplus rain. But since we have moved from the storage traditional wisdom what was available, and I think there used to be some 1,000 lakes in Bangalore. It was the same number, 800 or so in Chennai, but the majority of them has been either encroached or turned into garbage dump yard, and because of that reason, the fold and the fault, whatever we were having to recharge the groundwater, it just got vanished. And now we are in the stage of groundwater mining. So now to draw the sustainability, we should think that where we will store this water. We need to have the rainwater harvesting system from within the premises, and after that we should move really towards the silos. The capsules sort of silos are there where we can store this rain and it can be used. So all those technological interventions are needed, and that to be done to without giving any thought that what is the price tag of the water, but what is the sustainability which is required for our businesses, for our good living. Now actually on this particular topic, moving from towards the net zero, I would like to ask from Mr. Gautam Reddy, what do you feel whether we should move ahead on these lines or not, or it's high time or not? Please.
There's absolutely no choice but to move there. Now, when you can't do it voluntarily, sometime it has to come by force. And this is a very old statement, carrot or stick. Either you give incentive or you catch a stick and scare the person. Now, if we are unable to charge water, which is the root cause of the problem, it's because it's illegally extracted from the ground. The other way to catch it by the tail, if you can't catch it by the head, and that's by charging sewage discharge into the sewer line. Right? You charge it at that point, make it expensive to discharge it into the sewer. Once you make it very expensive, then it will naturally incentivize to recycle it within the building. If you say per every kiloliter of discharge, I'm going to charge you 1,000 rupees. And nobody is going to pay 1,000 rupees. They're going to start putting grey water lines, black water lines, everything, and then recycle the water, reuse it for washing, reuse it for utensils. Honestly speaking, it can be brought back to drinking levels. That's the level of technology today. If you just walk out in the stalls out here, you will find the plumbing line people, you will find the treatment people that can bring it back to drinking water level. It's just a psychological issue. And the psychological issue also, if you look at, is very simple. Look at any of the rivers that we have today, Krishna, Godavari, Kaveri, wherever drinking water sources coming for all of us. Do you think it is clean? There is sewage getting into it, some of it treated, some of it untreated, some of it without any connections. It's just flowing into it. And we are drawing it at our drawing point, assuming it is goddess, and then drawing down and happily drinking it. So it's only a psychological issue that it can't be consumed. Technology is there, quality is there. It just needs to get to the right currency and then charge properly and ensure that it is enforced. And time has come where we have to force it. For example, today, I don't know how many of you are also associated with industries. I'm associated with industries. Today, 80% of the industries who want a permission to operate, they are being forced to say what is called as zero emissions. You cannot discharge one drop of water from your industry outside. They have all put up their forced evaporation systems. Now what is this going to do? It's going to evaporate water. The water is not going to be there anymore. So we need to create more and more water. So how will the next generation get water? Agriculture water cannot be reused. because it's very expensive, because the land extent is very vast. The only place where it can be reused and recycled and recovered is the urban environment. So I think governments, people, NGOs, a strong movement has to come where water recycling is not a choice but a force, but a mandatory requirement. And honestly, the price has come to such a low level, it is absolutely affordable for all the buildings in the country today. There is no urban building that cannot afford the cost of recycled water. That's the level. It's just that it is cheap and undervalued and not priced properly, and that's why it is being misused grossly, and therefore I strongly believe it should be by force.
Very much. So, one thing is very clear from today's discussion, that we cannot charge the fresh water, but we can definitely charge the wastewater. So, Government of India has moved on the same lines, and liquid waste discharge draft order has been issued by this actually 7th of October, which will definitely charge, which will also penalize the facility user, the facility creator and the facility provider in case if the wastewater is not treated and recycled back at least 20% by 26-27 and 50% by 2030. So this is already in place. Now I think we should start thinking psychologically in a way that the water which is there in our premises, it needs to be recycled, needs to be reused. Further, I would like to add that right from traditions, we feel the water is a pious system. The moment water is there, it is water. We never thought, and in no of our epic, it has been written that it is a wastewater or it is it's just a water. Jal is jal. So that way, I will request that behavioral change, we should also think in what way to be brought. So we are in our mindset thinking water. Since it's so loving audience over here and such an intelligent the dignitaries over dice, really it is very hard for me to really declare that the session comes to an end. So thank you very much for your patience here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sri Avinash Mishra ji, and all the learned, distinguished panelists. Though we started a little slow and a little late, I'm sure we picked up momentum. Everybody is paying complete attention to this, and it's a splendid job. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure we can definitely give a round of applause to the moderator and the entire panel. And to express our gratitude and respect to the team which is on stage, I invite Mr. Nilesh Gandhi from Pune chapter. He's IPA chairman, Pune, to kindly step forward to present a memento to the moderator, Sri Avinash Mishra.
I would also request if there is any question, should we go for question answer?
Yes, sir. We have another 5 minutes for questions and answers.
So actually,
Maybe we can take 2 questions, sir.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I see a gentleman
So
there.
because I think
A mic, please. Somebody take a mic there.
Morning, my name is Shiva Iyer. I am from Kochi. My question is from a different perspective. We are talking about urban areas or cities or metros. But many companies or even IT groups are moving towards tier 2, tier 3 towns or cities, I mean small towns. And similarly, people are also started moving to tier 2, tier 3 cities for their living, constructing houses, independent houses. And the builders or promoters are coming up with villaments or a cluster of villas in tier 2, tier 3 cities. There it is not mandatory to have STPs in many of the states. If you are constructing a villa within 5 cents of land, it doesn't need to have a STP. And we will end up in providing a small septic tank and a sock pit. Eventually, whether the septic tank sock pit works, water will get water got a different character and quality that The moment, even a good quality water gets mixed with dirty water, the good quality water also will get dirty. So rainwater which falls on our premises get mixed with the overflow water from the septic tank or soak pit, and it is getting polluted. And since we have a cluster of
I request you to kindly ask your question, please.
Development in creating a small septic tank or treatment system, small one which can be laid below the car park or something like that. Anything coming up? Any guideline from government authorities? That's my question. Thank you.
I think the government authority, let us not see the guideline, but see the prime thing is whether this particular, the issue which you are raising, that whether it is sustainable or not. If I am moving towards tier 2, tier 3 cities along with development and also with the office premises, then definitely it is there, and I would request Mr. Gautam Reddy, who is already in the field, to answer it.
Firstly, those are not the best. Soak pits and septic tanks are not the best. But if you really go to a remote area and you have no choice, that's the only solution. There has been new guidelines that have come for what is called as fecal sludge treatment plants. And central government has already directed all the states and all the Panchayat Raj and rural departments to develop fecal sludge treatment plants in clusters, so that the septic tank that is evacuated, the fecal sludges go and get treated and disposed of. Right now, it certainly is not the best, and even small houses, recycling of sewage is possible, but unfortunately, because it's not forced, it's not coming up.
But there are small treatment plants of even 1 KL is available. Is all efficient, working well. The person who is buying a filament, this cost is negligible. So that is the kind of thing, but it is available and can be used.
Sir, I am Apurva Shah from Ahmedabad. I had a suggestion, instead of charging water or wastewater, a simple one-line guideline is required. Use water whatever quantity you want to. Get it anywhere through money or whatever. You have no authority to discharge outside your plot line, premises. That simple one-line regulation will solve all problems. They will think about how to reuse it, what to do with fecal sludge, what to do with grey water, what to do with agriculture, landscape. But why we are not positively thinking in this direction? It's a question to government. And your inactions are most important, because this is how everyone is violating the laws.
Well, while that is being implemented in industries today, it has its benefit that people are minimizing the use and evaporating. But let's understand, resource is getting evaporated finally. So we should try to recycle than evaporate it. So minimize the consumption, recycle. That's a better approach than calling for zero discharge, because zero consumption is not practical. We are going to consume something, and then it has to be treated and recycled than evaporated. So better solution is minimize, reuse, recycle than charge and evaporate. But yes, charge and evaporate is also happening.
Thank you very much, wonderful panel. Any more questions? We'll take them offline. And thank you so much. May I now invite Mr. Jose, our NEC member from Chennai, to kindly step forward and present a memento to Mr. P.O. Prasanna Kumar. Thank you, sir. I request Mr. Sandeep Rai Chowdhury, our NEC member from Calcutta, to kindly step forward and present a memento to Mr. Gautam Reddy. I invite Ms. Sandeepani from Amaravati chapter to kindly step forward and present a memento to Ms. Charu Thapar. And I invite Mr. Ganesh, Chairman IPA Raipur chapter, to kindly step forward and present a memento to Mr. Ashok Jeff. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a wonderful panel discussion that we had, throwing a lot of new light into the subject. A lot of ideas came forward. I'm sure quite a few of you would be willing to implement those ideas in your own premises and properties and projects. Thank you, gentlemen on the dais.